So you've got a tattoo, new or old, and it doesn't look exactly how you want it to. Does it need a touch-up, rework, or second pass? Stay tuned for tips and more. Hey guys, I'm Hayleetattooer and welcome to Tattoo Talk. Today I'm going to be discussing the difference between a tattoo touch-up, rework, or a second pass. So firstly, with tattoos, the first thing that you need to understand is that as tattoo artists, we are working with a strange medium. We are using needles, we are using pigments, loose pigments, and we are also tattooing it in through the top layer of skin into the second layer of skin. So it's a little bit, as you can understand, a little bit different than say a watercolor painting or a pastel drawing or something like that, where you have a stable, rigid medium and straightforward equipment. There are so many different variables that apply when we are putting on a tattoo, putting a tattoo in skin. Some of the variables are the artist. All artists use different equipment, different techniques. Everybody learns a little bit differently. There is no set way to perform a tattoo. There are huge strands of different styles, different techniques, different application procedures. So there is no one fixed way to apply a tattoo. You've also got different equipment. All you have to do is have a look on a tattoo supply page and you will see the huge range of tattoo equipment that is available to each artist. So you've got regular needles, you've got cartridge needles, you've got mags, bug pins, tight liners, hollow liners, loose liners, long taper, short taper, all different types of needles. Then you've got machines, you've got rotary machines, you've got coil machines, you've got weird little stick and poke configurations. There's all different kinds of tattoo machinery as well, not to mention the vast brand of ink and pigment that's available. Some artists even mix their own ink from powder pigments. So there is a huge supply available to tattoo artists, and it's really up to the tattoo artist what equipment and what quality equipment they use based on their preference. Other variables include aftercare products and aftercare routines. If you have a look at my tattoo aftercare video, you'll see that there are a few different ways that you can apply aftercare to your tattoo after the tattoo is completed, and that really depends again on what your artist recommends, as you should always go by what your tattoo artist recommends. And that doesn't only apply to the straight up healing period after your tattoo, it also includes the long-term care of your tattoo. So you might only need to apply cream or apply a second skin bandage to it for the duration of the healing period, but what after that? You still need to take care of it with the sun damage and sun protection and moisturization, exfoliation, just general skin care. So that also really makes an effect on what your tattoo is going to look like over time and after healing. And also, one of the biggest variables I think is that no two people have the same skin. All skin types are different, and this is really going to dictate how well your tattoo sits in the skin after it's been completed by your tattooed artist. So we can do our very best job, we can use all the very best equipment that we know how, aftercare procedures that have been great for the majority of our clients, but at the end of the day it does come down to your skin type as well as how you take care of it. So all those variables aside, what is the difference between a touch-up, a rework, and a second pass? Now, a tattoo touch-up is generally meant for when the tattoo is brand new. So tattoos are generally healed up between 2 and 3 weeks completely after being applied. And after the tattoo is completely healed up, say at about the 3-week mark, you should be able to look at your tattoo and see if anything has fallen out, any lines have fallen out, anything's been bumped, anything's been affected by the healing process, or is affected by the tattoo artist's application of your tattoo. You should be aware of it within 3 weeks of getting the tattoo done. Sometimes at the 3-week point, it's still a little flaky, a little shiny in some places, but if any line work has fallen out, if any color has scabbed up or fallen out, or it looks a little patchy, if anything needs smoothing out, you should be aware of it at the 3 to 4 week mark. And this is when you need to contact your tattoo artist and let them know that your tattoo does need a touch-up. Now, tattoo artists have completely different touch-up policies. Most of the time, touch-ups will be free of charge within a certain time period. So generally that time period will be between 2 and 6 months that they will perform the touch-up free of charge. And like I said, the touch-up only applies to parts of the tattoo that haven't healed correctly due to just general healing procedure or the tattoo artist application. This does not usually apply if, as a tattoo artist, we can tell if you haven't taken care of your tattoo, if you've gone swimming the day after your appointment, if you've picked the scab, we can tell, and that is not an application problem, that is an aftercare problem. And after the tattoo leaves our studio, it is your responsibility to take care of it. So there usually will be a clause in the aftercare and touch-up policy that will be affected if you don't take care of your tattoo. Now, some tattoo artists do charge for touch-ups. It's very important for you to ask about the touch-up policy and procedure prior to getting your tattoo done if it's something that you're worried about. But in general, most tattoo artists should provide a free touch-up within 2 to 6 months of the tattoo being performed for things that have fallen out due to poor application or healing. So that is what a touch-up is. A rework is different to a touch-up in the way that a rework can be close to the time that the tattoo was done. Say, for example, if a client changed their mind on the color scheme of a tattoo, so if they had something that was in a light blue but then they wanted to change it to a purple, that is not a free touch-up. That is definitely a rework. That's a change of mind. You can expect to pay at least the shop minimum upwards to have that tattoo reworked. Another condition that a tattoo might be reworked in is if the client has definitely not taken care of their tattoo during the healing process and we can tell, or they've been honest enough to say, hey, I unavoidably got my tattoo sunburn, I wasn't taking care of it, that's my responsibility, can I please have my tattoo reworked? And it's at your artist's discretion if they would like to do that or not. Another situation about having a tattoo reworked is if you have a tattoo that is several years old and just even though you've taken care of it over the period of time, it's just gone a little fuzzy, a little dull, that would be a rework as well. And at that point you could expect to pay full price to have the tattoo completely redone. And that also is at the discretion of the tattoo artist. You can either have it reworked by the tattoo artist that did it if they were still around and willing to rework your tattoo for you, or a tattoo artist, a different tattoo artist. And some tattoo artists have a little bit of an issue going over people's original designs. They might not want to insult the original artist, they may not want to step on any toes, so to speak. So if somebody declines reworking your tattoo, just understand that it's not them being a diva or whatever. It is more to do with the fact that the tattoo industry is quite political and we don't want to step on any toes, we don't want to upset anyone, and we don't want to also negatively affect on any work that a great tattoo artist may have done, even if it is a little bit aged. So now to the second pass. So a second pass is essentially a tattoo that hasn't been able to be completed just in the one session. So a second pass would be like if somebody was doing a beautiful big color portrait tattoo that required many layers of color. Perhaps they didn't want to overwork the skin, perhaps the client was bleeding or the client was feeling a little bit restless or uneasy and couldn't finish the design. At that point the artist would I suppose charge for the amount of work done and then book in for a second pass. So this also applies to things like highlights and that kind of thing, where you probably don't want to hurt the client that much to do it all in one day or disrupt the skin as much to do it all at the same time. You want to let things settle and then add a second layer of color or a second layer of highlights or something like that. So second passes, unless you have paid for your entire tattoo up front as a flat rate, you can expect to pay for a second pass just as you would any other tattoo that required multiple sessions. So there you have it. That's the difference between a touch-up, a rework, and a second pass for your tattoo. Now, if you have any questions or if there's anything that you would like me to cover in these videos, please make sure that you leave them in the comment section. And otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.